Hey guys, welcome to this audiobook that I'm making. It's just gonna be a YouTube thing. I'm just posting this on YouTube and it's like a sort of a comedy story that I made. Um I yeah, it's like a short story. It's only on Google Docs. It's only 27 pages long, but yeah. This is a book that I wrote a while ago and it's sort of like if because as you probably know, I'm writing a book. So this is a short story with my style, so you kind of know what my writing is like and how detailed and how styled my writing is. So yeah, this is a little sample of what my writing's like, but you probably know that I'm writing a book, and I'm gonna publish that book maybe in maybe a year. I don't know, but the first one of the trilogy might be done in like a year. I don't really know, but I'm almost done. Almost halfway done with it. So yeah, this is this audiobook that I'm making. It's called Dragon with a Gun. It's a comedy. I'm repeating myself. Let's just get into it. Also, do keep in mind that some things in the book that I'm writing, The Bronze Crown, Dragon with a Gun, it might contradict it because I wrote Dragon with a Gun a very long time ago. And I've changed a lot of things in the Bronze Crown, so it won't exactly line up accurately. Just know the dragon with a gun is not canon. It's just a little short story that I wrote aside from uh, the Bronze Crown. Phoenix was an ordinary dragon. At least, he was, until he found the one object a dragon should never get their talons on, ever. He hatched during a time of war, but soon after his hatching, his side lost the war. The good dragons made peace with the evil dragons, by forcing their surrender. The good dragons had three types of dragons: gold, silver, and bronze, and the bronze dragons had played the largest part in winning the war. They won the war almost completely alone. Shortly after an evil dragon deserted his side for seemingly no reason, the bronze dragons got their talons on weapons that shouldn't exist yet, such as crossbows that didn't need to be reloaded, or near unbreakable swords that were made from a mysterious metal that also shouldn't quite exist yet. They also gained possession of weapons that had been destroyed years ago. They made very few tactical mistakes, and they knew the evil dragon's every step. They won the war soon after. The evil dragons also have three types: red, black, and white, and despite them all working together and outnumbering the bronze dragons 3-1, they still lost very quickly. The evil dragons were now dishonored by decrees of peace, defying their proclivity for violence. Phoenix was a red dragon, and he honestly didn't care that the good dragons won the war. He was just happy that he didn't have to die by the sword. He didn't do well with pain, and his whole family hated him for his weakness. Now Phoenix had heard rumors that the bronze dragons had a weapon that could kill a dragon in an instant from a long distance, and that they had lost it in the wilderness, but he never expected that he would be the one to find it. He was barely an adult when he found it. He had too much power for one dragon to handle. He didn't even believe the rumors, and he thought of it as an empty threat from the bronze dragons, but he couldn't have been so wrong. This is the story of how the most dangerous weapon in the world fell into the talons of one of the most dangerous creatures in the world. This is the story of the dragon with a gun. Chapter 1. They Call It a Gun. Phoenix wandered the forest. He was searching for prey, but he hadn't found any yet. He wandered about until he spotted a deer. He immediately dropped into a crouch, and he slowly crept closer and closer. He leapt upon the deer and slashed its throat with his claws. Then he began to skin it. He carefully removed its hide, then he cooked the meat. He ate the slightly charred venison, then he rolled up the hide and put it in a bag he had around his neck. He wandered deeper into the woods, still hungry. As he was walking, he stepped on something cold and hard. He stepped back and examined what he had stepped on. It was made of metal, and it was in the shape of an L. It had what looked like a handle, and Phoenix picked it up and held on to the grip. He looked at the end of it, and he saw that it had a hole in it. He noticed it had a trigger, similar to that of a crossbow. Phoenix had no idea how it might work. After all, he couldn't see any strings or mechanisms that would fire a bolt, nor did he see a bolt. He spotted a button on the side, and he pressed it. A small compartment slid out, and it was full of brass casings for small iron cylinders with rounded tops. He put the compartment back in the device, then he decided to test it. I wonder if it works like a crossbow does, Phoenix thought as he pointed it at a tree and pulled the trigger. Bang! Phoenix dropped the device and flung his talons over his ears. After a few seconds, he opened his eyes. The tree had been blown to splinters. Phoenix glanced down at the weapon. That thing just destroyed a tree in one shot, he thought to himself. He cautiously picked it up and examined it more closely. On the side of the barrel there was a combination of numbers. What does 1911 mean? Phoenix wondered. Maybe that's what this is. It's called a 1911. Phoenix racked his brain, trying to remember what the legend said about the bronze dragon's secret weapon. Suddenly, he remembered what they called it. They called it a gun, he realized. He ran a talon along the barrel of the gun. This is the most dangerous weapon in existence, he thought to himself. The power to kill a dragon in one shot. I could win a war by myself with this thing. I could free the evil dragons from the oppression of the bronze dragons. Phoenix stopped. I can't do that. I can't just start a war with the people who are kind enough to spare us. Our kind is being treated well, and we are happy. I can't end that peace. Phoenix set the gun down and put his face in his talons. The power that had been given to him was too much for him to handle. He had the power to take another dragon's life with a twitch of his claw. He didn't want this. Phoenix had made up his mind. He was going to return the weapon to the bronze dragons. Phoenix grabbed the gun and began walking in the direction of the bronze dragon's village. He hoped that he would never have to kill anyone on his way, but if anyone tried to take the weapon from him to use for evil, he knew that he would have to kill them. He knew that it was to the north of his home, so he went north. Once he got out of the thick trees, he took off into the skies and began flying. He flew for about an hour, flying over trees and hills. He flew deeper into the wilderness, getting closer to the bronze dragon's village. He knew that it would take a few days to get there, but he was dedicated to ensure that this weapon didn't fall into the wrong talons. Phoenix swooped down to the ground in order to rest, and he curled up in a cave and tried to fall asleep. However, after a few minutes, something entered the cave. Phoenix could hear their talons thudding down outside, and the sharp clicking of claws on stone. Phoenix got up and turned to face whoever it was. It was a white dragon, and she glared at Phoenix. "What are you doing in my sleeping cave?" she demanded. "I didn't know this was your sleeping cave," Phoenix answered honestly. "I'll leave now." "No, you won't," the white dragon snarled. She charged forward at Phoenix. Bang! The white dragon dropped down at Phoenix's talons, a gaping bloody hole in her skull. "Oops," Phoenix commented sarcastically. He walked out of the cave, found another one, and curled up inside it. This time, no one disturbed his sleep, and he slept soundly. Chapter 2: They Will Pursue. Phoenix awoke. He was clutching the gun close to his chest so that anyone attempting to steal it would have to wake him up. He got up and walked out. He walked back in the direction of the cave where he had killed the white dragon, but as he got closer, he heard voices. He dropped low to the ground and crept closer. "Strange, isn't it?" said one voice. His voice was higher pitched and squeaky. "What about it is so strange?" asked the other deeper voice. "Dragons get murdered all the time." "But look at her. She's got a large hole in her head that pierces through her skull. No weapon should be able to do that," said the first dragon. Phoenix crept close enough to see the two. They were both male red dragons. The one with the squeaky voice was small and agile, while the other was big and burly. "I say we just get out of here before whoever killed her shows up," said the second dragon. "What's this?" the first dragon wondered aloud as he picked up the brass casing for the bullet. He sniffed it. "Smells like fire." "It's probably a good thing that this dragon died," said the second dragon. "I'm willing to bet that she would have attacked us." "Let's sniff around a little bit," said the first dragon. "Maybe we'll find who did this." "That sounds like a great idea," the second dragon said sarcastically. "If we're lucky enough, maybe we'll get our skulls blown apart, too." Phoenix stepped out of the trees and cleared his throat. The two red dragons turned around. "I was the one who did this," Phoenix said. "But don't worry, I won't do it to you." "How did you do it?" asked the dragon with the high-pitched voice. Phoenix held up the 1911. "I have a gun." "What? What is that?" asked the high-pitched voiced dragon. Then the realization hit him. The legends are true. The secret weapon really is real. Phoenix nodded. "I've got to get this gun to the bronze dragon's village," he said. "Will you escort me there?" "The bronze dragon's village?" asked the deep-voiced dragon. "Don't tell me that you plan to deliver the world's most dangerous weapon into the talons of our mortal enemies." "They are no longer our mortal enemies," Phoenix explained. "We are at peace, and I can't let anyone get hold of this weapon and use it for evil. So, will you two help escort me?" "You don't need an escort. You have a gun," said the high-pitched voiced dragon. "Good point. However, it's better to have someone watching your back," Phoenix said. "No," said the deep-voiced dragon. "I won't let you take this weapon to the dragons I hate. I will stop you." "Oh yeah? You and what army? Phoenix mocked. 'Cause you'll need one to stop me. Want to bet on that? Asked the deep-voiced dragon. He charged forward as Phoenix raised the gun. Bang! The deep-voiced dragon fell to the ground, writhing in pain as blood poured from his shoulder. He tried to crawl closer to Phoenix, but Phoenix stepped on his neck and put the barrel of the gun to his head. I do. Bang! Phoenix wiped the blood from the barrel of the 1911, and he turned to the other dragon. I hope you don't have ballistophobia. To Phoenix's surprise, he laughed. I don't. I was getting sick of him anyway. My name's Conflagration, and it is nice to meet you. He held out a talon, and Phoenix shook it. I respect power, and you clearly have it, Conflagration continued. I'm coming with you. Phoenix smiled. Come on, let's go. The two of them walked through the forest, talking as though they had known each other for years. Phoenix talked about how he had found the weapon, and Conflagration talked about how he had hated the hunting partners he had been assigned with. All they care about is themselves, Conflagration explained. They only want more and more. Whether it's power or money, they always want more. I hate them so much. All they feel is greed. I know, right? Phoenix agreed. All other dragons are so greedy and violent, and they don't want peace. They prefer anarchy to living under the banner of the good dragons. Exactly, Conflagration said. They don't appreciate how the good dragons decided to spare us, rather than wiping us out. They're so stupid. The two of them walked for a while, then they stopped to rest. Conflagration offered to hunt, and Phoenix waited patiently for him. However, someone else found him first. A black dragon walked into the clearing they were going to rest in, and he walked up to Phoenix. Phoenix held the 1911 behind his back, tightly gripping it. Hi there, said the black dragon. Hi, Phoenix said through tightly clenched jaws. You have something that I want. I don't think I do, Phoenix said as he slipped his claw over the trigger. The black dragon lunged forward and pinned Phoenix to a tree by his throat. Hand it over. Now. Phoenix put the barrel of the 1911 under the chin of the black dragon, pressing the cold steel barrel up against the spot where his jaw met his neck. I hope you don't have ballistophobia. Bang! The black dragon's brains exploded at the back of his head as he collapsed into the dirt. Phoenix breathed a sigh of relief as he sat down. That could have been bad, he thought as he wiped the blood from his face. Conflagration rushed into the clearing. What happened? He asked. I was attacked, but I defended myself, Phoenix explained. He knew I had the gun. I wonder how he found me so quickly. He was probably spying on our meeting, and he followed us here, Conflagration suggested. You're probably right, Phoenix said as he glanced at the two deer Conflagration was carrying. I see you've brought me some dinner. Conflagration placed a talon on one of the deer, and suddenly fire flowed from his talon and cooked the deer. Phoenix immediately lunged forward and put the barrel of his gun against Conflagration's head. You never told me you were a pyromancer, Phoenix hissed. Use of magic is heresy. Oh yeah, I forgot that some dragons think that, Conflagration said. I was taught otherwise. Where I come from, we learn that using magic isn't heresy. Phoenix slowly lowered the 1911. I'll be keeping a close eye on you, he snarled. Whatever, Conflagration said. I don't really care. He cooked the other deer with magic, then he handed one to Phoenix. The two of them ate, and when they were done, Phoenix said, I'm really sorry for threatening you. Where I come from, magic is considered to be heresy, and I acted impulsively. I'll admit I overreacted. Conflagration nodded in thanks. Let's just get some sleep. He walked over to a corner of the clearing and curled up into a ball. He fell asleep in just a few minutes. Phoenix lay awake for a while, pondering everything that had just happened. I killed 3 dragons today, he thought. I wonder if the 1911 has infinite ammunition. Probably not. I should be a little more careful with this thing. He lay awake, thinking, for an hour. Then he eventually fell asleep. Chapter 3 Set Me Free. Phoenix awoke, and he got up. Conflagration was cooking breakfast, and he waved to Phoenix as he got up. Phoenix walked up to Conflagration and took his share of the breakfast. He ate it silently, then when he was done, he struck up a conversation with Flagration. Conflagration. Why did you agree to follow me so readily? Phoenix asked. Didn't I tell you that I respected power? Conflagration asked. I respected you, so I decided to tag along. I also want to do what is right, and I believe that this weapon belongs in the talons of the bronze dragons. Not many of our kind would agree with you, Phoenix commented. I'm glad you're on my side, especially with your magic. I thought you believed magic to be heresy, Conflagration said. It's not my choice whether or not you use magic, and I might as well take advantage of it. I'm not the one committing heresy, Phoenix explained. I'm also willing to let you live, if that goes to show how much I respect you. Conflagration nodded. Thanks, I guess. We should get moving, Phoenix suggested. He got up and helped Conflagration to his feet. Let's go. The two of them walked through the forest. They walked for half an hour, but suddenly Conflagration said, I'm kind of tired. Really? Asked Phoenix. We've only been walking for about 30 minutes. Conflagration nodded. Magic can be taxing on your stamina, even when you're not using it. Phoenix knew nothing about magic, but he shrugged. Okay. Conflagration led him into a cave, but when they went inside, there was a tunnel that appeared to be made by dragons. It was hundreds of years old, but the torches in the tunnel were somehow still lit. Magic, Phoenix thought as he entered the tunnel. It came to a sudden dead end, with a boarded up door at the end. Let's rest here, he suggested. Let's check out this tomb first, Conflagration insisted. Phoenix shrugged. Okay. He pried off the boards and opened the door. Inside was a crypt with 9 sarcophaguses, 4 on each side, but with one in the center of the back. Phoenix examined the golden coffins, but Conflagration walked straight up to the back of the room and opened the coffin. Suddenly, he leapt back with a yelp, and he ran over to take cover behind Phoenix. A dragon skeleton sat up in the coffin, and it climbed out of the tomb. It wore golden armor, and had a golden sword on its back. It drew its sword. You have disturbed the tomb of the eternal king in his court, it said in a raspy voice. How do you plead? Phoenix stood frozen in place. I would like to plead oopsie daisies. The Eternal King took a step forward. Surrender the crown. Now. That's a crown? I thought it was a golden unibrow, Phoenix mocked. The King's decree is no trifling matter, the Eternal King said. You have trespassed on sacred grounds. You will answer for your crimes, in gold or in blood. It was an accident, said Phoenix. We don't have any gold, and we won't go down without a fight. Conflagration stepped forward and summoned a fireball on his talons. What are you going to do? Phoenix asked. I am going to incinerate him with unholy hellfire, Conflagration declared. Phoenix snorted. I'm going to shoot him with a gun. He raised his 1911 and pulled the trigger. Bang! The Eternal King dodged the bullet with unmatched speed and reaction time. Bang! Phoenix fired again, but he dodged it once more. The Eternal King lunged forward and punched Phoenix with unnatural speed and strength. Phoenix dropped his gun and fell to the floor. The Eternal King picked up Conflagration and looked into his eyes. You should have refrained from trespassing. Now you will face your death. I have played the waiting game for many years. For centuries I have laid in wait, listening. But now you shall listen. You have disturbed my tomb, and your kind shall suffer for it. Phoenix stepped up next to the Eternal King and put the gun with the barrel pressed up against his head. Dodge this, he said casually. Bang! The Eternal King's skull shattered. He was dead in an instant. Phoenix blew smoke off the barrel of his gun. That was easier than I expected, he said. Conflagration smiled. Thank you. You saved me. I wasn't expecting him to die in one shot. Neither was I, but then again, bullets don't care if you're immortal, Phoenix said. He walked out down the hallway to the cave outside the tomb, with Conflagration close behind. Chapter 4 Spill Their Gore. They walked out of the cave and back into the wilderness. They wandered the forest together, but soon they realized that someone was following them. Hello? Phoenix called out. Who are you talking to? Conflagration asked. There's nobody there. I think there is, actually, Phoenix said. Show yourself. He stepped forward. Where are you? Suddenly, he heard a yelp from behind him, and he spun around. A black dragon was holding Conflagration with a blade to his throat. Hand over the gun, or your friend dies, he yelled. Bang! The black dragon dropped to the ground, leaving Conflagration alive and unhurt. Conflagration looked furious. You could have hit me, he yelled. I saved your life, Phoenix said. If I had made any other choice, you would have died. If I had hit you, you would have died, but if I didn't shoot, you would have gotten your throat slashed. What if you gave him the gun? Conflagration asked. Would that really have been so bad? He probably would have killed us both, Phoenix said. Conflagration sighed. Let's just go. The two turned and began walking through the forest. They walked for a few hours, then they stopped to rest for the night. Conflagration went hunting while Phoenix waited for him to return. While he was gone, Phoenix began thinking. Conflagration is a little annoying and ungrateful. I should just leave. However, he might try to get vengeance. I should try my best to not make him mad. Eventually, conflagration returned, and he had 2 deer with him. He cooked them, and he gave one to Phoenix. Phoenix ate it, then he tried to go to sleep. However, after a few minutes he noticed that conflagration was still awake. He was just watching him. Phoenix decided to try something. He closed his eyes and pretended to be asleep, but he remained awake and listened. He heard the sound of someone approaching him, and when they were right in front of him, he opened his eyes. A red dragon stood in front of him, holding a knife. Phoenix kicked him back and raised his gun, but it was only conflagration. "You scared me!" Phoenix exclaimed. Conflagration stabbed Phoenix in the side. Bang! Phoenix shot Conflagration in the shoulder. He stumbled back, but he was back on Phoenix in a second. He wrenched the 1911 from Phoenix's talons, then he kicked Phoenix in the face, knocking him down. Conflagration jumped back and pointed the gun at Phoenix. "Why are you doing this?" Phoenix asked. "I respect power," Conflagration explained. "You had great power, but now I have that power. I now have the power to kill a dragon with a twitch of my claw. Say goodbye, Phoenix." Conflagration pointed the gun at Phoenix's head and pulled the trigger. Chapter 5 Still Alive. Click. "Damn it," Conflagration said as he stared at the empty gun. Phoenix laughed. "Looks like you're out of ammo. And out of luck." Phoenix tore the knife from his side as he got to his feet. He stepped forward and slashed Conflagration across the throat, killing him. Phoenix picked up the gun and put it and the knife in his neck bag. He limped through the forest in the direction of the Bronze Dragon's village. He limped for about 10 minutes in excruciating pain until a voice called out to him. "You there, do you seek the Bronze Dragons?" Phoenix turned to the voice, seeing a bronze dragon. "Thank goodness," he said. "I have a very powerful weapon that cannot be allowed to fall into the talons of the evil dragons." The bronze dragon narrowed his eyes at him. "Hand it over." Phoenix happily took out the 1911 and placed it in the bronze dragon's talons. "Here you go." "Where did you get this?" asked the bronze dragon. "I stumbled across it by chance," said Phoenix. The bronze dragon looked skeptical, but he decided to trust Phoenix. "Come with me," he ordered. Phoenix followed him to the bronze dragon's village and to the throne room. A bronze dragon sat on the throne, and a black dragon sat beside her, sharpening his sword. They both wore crowns of bronze. "Your Majesty, I have come here bearing a gift for you," Phoenix said as he dropped into a bow. "You don't have to do that," said the Queen. "What is your gift?" The bronze dragon that had escorted Phoenix handed the 1911 to the Queen. "What's this? Her long-lost weapon?" She removed the magazine. "Where are all the bullets?" "I fired them all in order to defend myself on the way back," Phoenix said. "I'm really sorry." "Don't worry about it," said the Queen. "We don't need it anymore, anyway." "Where are you from?" "I come from the camp known as the Dying Ember," Phoenix said. "I don't think that anyone there knows that I gave you this weapon, but there might be those elsewhere that do." "Are you willing to go back?" "I could send an escort," the Queen suggested. "I just want my life back," Phoenix said. "Very well," said the Queen. "Echo, will you make sure he gets back safely?" "No problem, Sunbreaker," said the dragon who had found Phoenix in the forest. "Can I have my wounds treated first?" Phoenix asked. "Oh my," Queen Sunbreaker said. "I didn't even notice that. Echo, take him to Sunflower and tell her to treat his wounds immediately. He can spend the night here if he'd like to." Echo nodded. "Affirmative. I'll take him to the medic, then take him back to his home tomorrow." "Good," Sunbreaker said. She turned to the black dragon beside her. "Hey, Deepshade, do you know if we have any more ammunition for the gun?" "I don't think we do," Deepshade said. "We used 2 magazines during the war, and we started with 3. If you used the last one, then we would have no more ammo." "Oh well. Like I said, we don't really need it anymore," Sunbreaker said. "Echo, what are you waiting for? Take him to the doctor immediately." Echo gently grabbed Phoenix's arm and said, "Come with me." Phoenix nodded and followed him out of the throne room. Echo led Phoenix into the hospital. Echo explained the story to the doctor, and she told Phoenix to sit in one of the beds. He did so, and she came over to him and treated the wound on his side. She seemed slightly untrusting of him, but that didn't stop her from helping him. When she was done, Phoenix closed his eyes and relaxed. After a few minutes, he was asleep. Epilogue. The day after that, Echo escorted Phoenix back to his home. They told everyone that Phoenix had simply gotten lost and stumbled upon the Bronze Dragon's village by some stroke of luck, and they believed it. However, Phoenix knew the truth, the story of how he got his talons on the most dangerous weapon that a dragon could possibly possess, and how he had delivered it into the talons of the only ones who could keep it safe and use it for good. Phoenix never told anyone about the 1911, but he never forgot about it. Conflagration and the other dragons who wanted to get the gun were dead, and anyone else who wanted to find Phoenix or the weapon never did. The bronze dragons kept the gun safe, and no evil talons ever touched it again. This is the story of the dragon with a gun.